How badly are you looking to punish yourself? Sunblaze is an incredibly challenging 2D platformer that requires precision movement, which relies on your abilities with a controller. However, there's a Zen mode and accessibility options if that's what you're looking for. But before I get to that, Sunblaze is pretty good. For the most part, the controls do what you expect, and there are a million levels. That was an exaggeration. What I'm saying is that the over 700 levels is plenty of content to work your way through. Prepare for a lot of dying. Anyway, the story of Sunblaze is simple, but effective at creating a world where a game like this can exist. You're probably not surprised to find out it's not the main reason you'll enjoy the game. You play as Josie, a young superhero in training who is trying to take after her superhero dad. To safely train, her father is using a training room that's part product and partly programmed by him. They might live inside it too. It's a little confusing. Unfortunately, something goes terribly wrong and Josie gets trapped in there. The only way forward is to complete the challenging levels and destroy the generators powering the room. The game is broken up into 6 chapters which change up the mechanics and scenery. The story is fine. There's some silly writing here to keep the mood light, and it's planning to set up the game, but you're here for the mechanics, so let's talk about those. Josie has very few mechanics: a double jump, a dash, and grabbing onto ledges. However, it's enough to get through these levels. The training room is hell. There are so many mechanics, and the difficulty increases as you keep winning. Starting with spikes and pits is adorable, but the game quickly escalates to blocks that fall when you touch them, then progresses to blocks that move when you're in their path and they will crush you. Next, some blocks get too hot to touch after you've touched them the first time, another timing mechanic to speed you up. I'm not going to cover everything here, but there are some more interesting mechanics later in the game. Exploding boxes and barrels, another speed up mechanic, and a fun power that transforms your character into a fireball. No matter what you come up against, precision is key. Dash too far or jump too late and the game will gladly have spikes waiting for you. The jump height in Sunblaze is much shorter than I expected, especially for a double jump. You need to nail it if the distance is maximum. It feels like there's almost no leeway. I had the most trouble with the falling blocks. Touching them on the side causes them to start dropping, which isn't enough time to climb on top, completely stand up, and then jump to your proper destination. It's probably my fault because I don't think you need to climb all the way up to jump again. When moving so fast, my hands kind of do the jumping without me thinking about it. The controls are good enough and there's nothing bad I can say about them. They're good enough for me to be able to grab onto spike ledges without dying. It's not easy since the opening you have to catch is razor thin. Side note, if you want a quick restart button, there is one you can bind, but it's not set by default. There's always an opportunity to kill yourself in Sunblaze, so a quick restart isn't required, but it is nice to have. Now, speaking of the settings, there are a bunch of options to make it easier for anyone to play. Here are the pause menu settings you can enable whenever you want without any consequences. I like they're here, but they do give the game away, so I'm not sure they're going to meet everyone's needs. Higher jumps and double jumps are the ones that seem best to still keep most of the difficulty. I think of Celeste where they added the ability to slow down the game. It makes a lot of sense to slow down a precision platformer to meet someone's needs, and it still would keep the game a challenge. Still, it's better to have some settings than none at all. Otherwise, you can give the Zen mode a shot. The description doesn't do a great job of explaining what the difference is. I only know it's easier with fewer levels. If you're a speedrunner, then you'll want to check out the settings too. You can show the game clock, the number of deaths, and turn on the ability to skip cutscenes quickly. I fully expect Sunblaze to be run a few times. Maybe I'll catch it at a Games Done Quick event. On a similar note, if you're into completing a game to 100% or think the normal levels in Sunblaze are too easy, you're in luck. The game has boxes scattered throughout the level in places where they are tricky to reach. Your reward for nabbing all the boxes in a chapter is unlocking hard mode. It makes sense. Reward the best players with more levels to challenge their skills. I did grab all the boxes in the first chapter, but after that they are risky, but I could see getting focused on getting them all. Overall, Sunblaze is what I've come to expect from incredibly challenging 2D platforming. It has a simple story with a ton of levels to get frustrated at. It's hard to describe exactly where it falls on the scale, but Sunblaze isn't the insane levels of Kaizo Mario difficulty. Although I got stuck plenty of times with death after death after death, I really like the polish in Sunblaze, and the silly writing works for me. You probably know if this is your genre, and if it is, I recommend it. I hope this review helps you decide if you want it. And that's the conclusion of the video. Thanks for watching. Go on and click that subscribe button for more game reviews. Cheers.